How's it going, folks? Welcome to a video where I'll be rambling about my experience with Shin Megami Tensei 4. I recently got around to playing the game and I had a great time with it, but for context, this is my third proper SMT game that I ever played. The first one being SMT IV Vengeance, which I absolutely fell in love with. Well, if I'm being perfectly honest, my very first game was not a game to be proud of, but let's pretend that didn't happen and just say that it was Vengeance. The second was SMT Nocturne, which I was streaming and then paused for a while and still haven't finished, and I really should go back to finish it. Because I loved Vengeance so much, I wanted to go back and play the previous games, see how they're like, and if I have a new favorite. After all, I'd heard a lot of good things about a bunch of games, not just 4, but also games like Strange Journey, which I also plan to play eventually. One of the things that I'd heard about 4 is that because it has to deal with technical limitations, being on the 3DS, that meant that the demon variety was insane, and they were right. There's a ton of demons in this game, the actual number being a little over 420. The sheer variety in the art style and just how wildly different the demons look is one of my most anticipated parts about playing an SMT game, and I'm happy to report that SMT 4 did not disappoint. This Crown Guy was one such highlight. Fusing demons to create new ones is a highly entertaining aspect of the games that I find really easy to sink a lot of time in. There's just so much satisfaction in taking a favorite demon and managing to put a solid build on them after figuring out a proper fusion chain. The combat, much like with Vengeance, was a lot of fun in this. Figuring out weaknesses and using the power of game knowledge to breeze through is a blast. At least when I don't have to redo the past 20 minutes because I had the dumbest game over ever. Personally, I didn't shy away from using save states because the way I look at it, I'm just saving time by using them. Especially in moments where it's been a while since I last saved. One of the things that I was pleasantly surprised about in SMT4 was the environments. Going into it, I was expecting a somewhat medieval-themed atmosphere and locations given the samurai characters and all that, but there is a twist that makes it so that that's not really the case. You actually will go through some modern, gritty night streets and other locations that come with it. The vaporwave-like soundtrack goes along perfectly with the locations of this game, giving off a retro-futuristic or maybe even a cyberpunk feel that is just pleasant to listen to. There are simply too many amazing tracks in this game to list, but I really gotta give a shout out to the Tokyo theme, man, because goddamn, that shit slaps. There were times where the soundtrack did a wonderful job in subverting my expectations. Like, one of the areas I fully expected to not like as much as I did had a track that wasn't quite what I expected. And I mean that in the best way possible. Blasted Tokyo. It's as post-apocalyptic as that can get. Sand as far as the eyes can see. As of recently, I actually grew quite tired of desert settings because I just feel like I've been seeing them quite a bit. But the composition of the accompanying track in SMT4 for this location changed everything. I was met with a track that was so eerie, it felt like I was looking at more than just a desert setting. As cheesy as that sounds. It was like I was looking at and experiencing an anomaly, something that shouldn't be happening, but is. And to be fair, this whole segment is very much an anomaly, so that just goes to show how perfectly this track goes with it. This sounds like something you'd easily hear in a Silent Hill game. A distorted melody that brings together an unconventional mix of sounds which results in a uniquely memorable track. I spent like the last couple of minutes just yapping about the soundtrack, but it's just really good, man. I could easily handpick several more tracks and go on about why I find them to be so enchanting. The story has an interesting premise, taking place in what looks like a medieval setting in a fictional location called the Kingdom of Mikado. We play as a young man who is applying to become a samurai for said kingdom, and we quickly get to know other new samurai that we get to travel with for a lot of the game. Each of them represents one alignment choice. I personally went full chaos for my playthrough because honestly, at more than just a few instances, it seemed like the rational thing to do, but not always. Though I was committed to the bit, so I had to choose everything that seemed extra to make sure that I get the chaos ending. Jonathan is the goody two-shoes type of character that represents the law side, but oddly enough, he just overlooks some things that should not be overlooked, and it's honestly one reason why I sided with Walter a bunch of times. Speaking of, Walter is the chaos representative and is a carefree guy. A lot of the time he doesn't even sound remotely evil, which gives off the same question marks that it does with Jonathan when it comes to representing their respective alignments. Like, neither of them seem like they sit at either extreme. Nevertheless, Walter is the cooler guy out of the two, so I committed to his side. Then you have Isabeau, which I guess is the neutral representative, but if anything, the game outright does tell you that she's indecisive, if anything. And honestly, I like that indecisiveness because it's a very real trait to have, especially in the face of catastrophic events. What I don't like all that much is how she doesn't really have much of a personality trait beyond reading her spicy mangas, and also her haircut is goofy as hell. If I'm being perfectly honest, while the premise of an SMT game is absolutely vital in setting the tone and hooking you in, I don't play SMT expecting a groundbreaking story. I think SMT IV has its highs and lows. The part that really draws me in is its focus on the demons themselves and the game's presentation of them, the sheer variety of them, how you can converse with them, their lore, collecting them like you're picking up game collector editions, that part. SMT IV does a solid job in doing all that. One thing I wish was addressed is the encounter rate in the overworld. Even if it was a mid-game unlockable, I wish there was a way to either reduce the encounter rates or disable them, since it can be hard to completely avoid encounters there. I know you can wait a bit for an encounter to move away, but I honestly found that engaging is the faster option at times. So it's just like, yeah, having a way to disable them would have been great. It also would have made the vague descriptions for quest hunts less tedious, because I don't mind being lost. What I did mind was just having to get into an encounter like every 2 seconds. On the other hand, I do like that in exploration mode, you're actually able to avoid encounters unlike SMT III, though it's still difficult at times when you're in tight areas. Also, having just 2 save slots is criminal. Like, come on man, this is a game full of choices, give me more. Also, pardon my language, but who the fuck came up with the fiend hunting logic in this game? What the actual fuck do you mean that you have a 1 in 256 chance of finding one? I found out about this in a guide and I had to do a double take, then I just sat there in disbelief because that's just downright putrid and disrespects the hell out of your time. I want to give a special shout out to how grotesque some of the designs in this game are. I loved a lot of the demon designs in SMT V Vengeance, but this game takes it to another level with some of them. Let's talk about Lucifer. From what I understand, this design is unique to this game and I think Apocalypse, and I conversed with people and saw others that think this design is ugly, but honestly, that's what I love about it. Just look at that thing. It's hideous, it's repulsive, but it's oddly flashy. I dig it. And then there's the Masakado design in one of the DLCs, which looks like it was taken straight out of a creepypasta with the gnarly teeth he has. I know that this game has some post-game unlockable demons and I was planning to immediately replay this game, but I'm thinking of just hopping into Apocalypse after this since from what I've seen of it, it has the same core gameplay of 4 but with a couple of added things, and about 20 added demons I believe. I don't want to make this video too long, so I think we'll just wrap things up. Long story short, I freaking adore SMT IV. I enjoyed my 74 hours with it and I probably will come back to it at some point, but for now I might just jump into Apocalypse and see how that's like. I know this video isn't the most in-depth, but I have quite a bit going on and I just wanted to make a video on the game while I was still feeling the fire for it. So for what it's worth, I hope it was still something of an enjoyable watch. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye now.